السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الحمد لله حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيده. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك، وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيد الأولين والآخرين وعالم السابقين وقائد الغر المحجلين وشفيع المذنبين وسيد ولد آدم أجمعين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله الغر الميامين وأصحابه نجوم الدين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين، وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم انفعنا وارفعنا بالقرآن العظيم. اللهم اجعله لنا نورا وإماما وهدى ورحمة. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters, the Holy Quran and its revelation started, as all of your people, you know, in Mecca on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mecca, the Qurayshi people, they used to reside in Mecca, and they were the direct, descendant from Sayyidina Ismail. Sayyidina Ismail, son of Sayyidina Ibrahim. He came and have some mixture between the old Arab language, and his original language, which from it erupted, what we call it, the eloquent, Arabic language. And this has been summarized by him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Ismail was the first one, to speak the eloquent Arabic language. This has been refined, dramatically, because as you may imagine, the Arab, they have different accents. Okay, the Qurayshi accent was the most eloquent one, among all Arabs, for istifa. This is something done by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And besides it, you have the physical factor, because Quraysh, they located, in Mecca, and even in these old days, before revelation, they used to perform Umrah, and this is going to have the high selectivity from the Meccan people, or Qurayshi people, to have the best language, hearing-wise, expression-wise, or whatever. Then the Prophet ﷺ, when his revelation started on him, for sure it was in Arabic language, in the accent of Qurayshi people, because most of the followers of his sallallahu alaihi wasallam for 21 years, they were either Hijazi type, even though you have the people of Medina, they were not Meccan, and they are originally from Yemen, but they are familiar with the Hijazi accent, Then we read in Quran, the Prophet ﷺ conquered Mecca. إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ فِي دِينِ اللَّهِ أَفْوَاجًا. You have massive interest, of the people, in the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after conquering Mecca. And here the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did face this as a problem, because he would like to spread all over, the place, the wording of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, namely the Holy Quran. And it was too easy to him, during the Meccan accent. Then some of those Arab, as you may imagine, you don't have broadcasting, you don't have TV, you don't have any of those measurement, in these very early days, and many of these people, especially those who are limited to their country, or to their tribe, they will not be familiar, with the Qurayshi accent, and this is going to make them, have some difficulties, and have the recitation. This is, I may not, ask for it, but the Prophet ﷺ did ask for it, to make the way, of handling Quran to make it, much easier. And he begged Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in many narration, one narration Sahih Muslim, okay, to make it easy on his nation, because you have different type, of person. Not all of them, they are highly educated. And he was an angel was sent to him, to give him the choice between one harf or two harf, and he said two, and then two or three, and he said three. Then he was given the choice between 3 and 7, and he chose the 7 letters, and by this, most of those ways, of recitation, they may change in the way of pronunciation. They are not going to have dramatic change in the meaning. Example of it, when you say wadduha or wadduha, this is some other way, of pronunciation, the same wording, without any change in the meaning, and this problem was resolved by it. Some of those old companions, or those who learned Quran from him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they got this problem because they learned something from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they are going to hear some other people, they have different way, of pronunciation, either in their cities, or elsewhere. Sayyidina Ubay ibn Ka'ab, he did find 2 persons, in the mosque, they have different way of recitation of the Quran, that the recitation given to him, and he just waited for them. They were praying, and when they finished, he took them to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did ask the first one, to recite, and he recited the same recitation that he had it in the mosque, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam confirmed it by saying "Hakadha unzilat," and then the other one did recite different than the recitation of his colleague, and was confirmed by him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Sayyidina here you see the greatness of it, how honest, how sincere they were, these people. He said, Sayyidina Ubay ibn Ka'ab described what happened, to him. He said, I have a doubt, about it, not even the doubt in Jahiliyyah before Islam is going to be much better than that doubt, And the Prophet ﷺ did feel this, and he looked at him, and he pushed him, in his chest, and he said, as if I'm facing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, start to get sweaty, and then he recited the Quran, and the Prophet ﷺ confirmed it. Then he told him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the angel came to him, giving him the choice, between the first come, second, and third come, and he chose to have 7 different styles, of recitation, and was given from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepted supplication for each, of those visits, of the angel to him, and what did he say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, Allahumma ghfir li ummati, Allahumma ghfir li ummati, twice. Okay, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive my nation, twice. And he postponed the third one, till the day that all creation, they are going to be in need of him, including Sayyidina Ibrahim, And this leads us, to the intercession. Anyone anyone has any question or clarification point that I missed, to mention, feel free to ask. This has been originated from such a thing, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would like to have this is accepted, and quite familiar for all Arab, and they have different accents, that the Quran was, you have the 29 letter Arabic letter, besides them, you have some additive 6 letters, has been accepted in Quran, those for different accents, but not everything, in the accent. You have some bad letters, or for those people, who have little bit lower, level, in acceptance, and this is the language. These languages did not show up in the Quran. Okay, so that's why nowadays anything fit these three criterions, they are going to be considered as Quran. Firstly, to match one of the copies of Sayyidina Uthman ibn Affan. Secondly, to have massive transmission, mutawatir transmission to the Prophet ﷺ. And thirdly, to fit one of the Arabic grammar, eloquent, or the most eloquent one, It's not going to come, in the weak one, And nowadays, those who fit these three criteria, they are the 10 qira'at that Ibn al-Jazari did study them, with many of his shuyukh, and he wrote his great reference, about it, was called Al-Nashr fi Qira'at al-Ashr. Okay, for the intercession, as mentioned, or highlighted in that particular hadith that I started in my talk, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is called the greater intercession, and this has been mutawatir, and it's massively transmitted, mentioned in Bukhari, mentioned in Muslim, mentioned in other books, of hadith, that the people, they are going to be gathered, in the hereafter in very critical position. The sun is going to be close to them, and they are going to, some of them, they are going to drown, and sweat, and that this horrifying, position of them, fearing to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be reckoned by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are going to be gathered for a while. I don't remember how long is going to be nowadays, and they are going to feel scared, of this position, Yani this is, I may have similar to it, in my life, when you have someone wait for the result of his exam, this is maybe much worse, than when he is told that he failed, in that particular exam, because this waiting by itself, for the human nature, is going to be quite harmful, in such a thing, and they are going to seek the intercession from Sayyidina Adam, then Sayyidina Nuh, Sayyidina Musa, Sayyidina Isa, then Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and is going to be the only one. He's specialized by it, and is going to intercede, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to start reckoning, these creation, especially the humankind, this is special for him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You have many types, of intercession, it's going to be in the hereafter. Some of them, they are shared by someone else, but this is specifically, you have some controversy about the others, not all of the others, This is going to be specified for him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you have the intercession, to have some people who deserve to go to hellfire, not to go to hellfire, this intercession. Thirdly, you have some people who enter the hellfire and they're going to be get out, from hellfire and sent to heaven. Then you have to ease up, the punishment, given to some person who are going to stay, in hellfire. Then you have the intercession, to upgrade the level, for some people, who used to be in the heaven, to join someone else, All of these intercessions, many others, they have been mentioned, they mention about intercession, for the children, Okay, you have many other intercession, some for the children, who pass away, the non-believer and the believer, the children, and you have some other intercession for those who commit enormities. You have some intercession for those who pass away, in Medina al-Munawwara, and you name it, In one hadith, the Prophet ﷺ did say, "Shafa'ati li ahli al-kaba'ir min ummati." That means the intercession is going to be for those who commit enormity. To make the long story short and the complicated one, simple, in Tabarani, you have this sound hadith. Whenever you make salawat on him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 10 times, in the morning, 10 times in the evening, you are going to be eligible, to have the intercession of his sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And this intercession, for a sinful person, is going to take away many of those sinful action, For the one who did not have any sinful action, it's going to upgrade him, and raise him, up in the heaven, and whatever of that regard. Example of it, this is mentioned, I think, in Musnad Bazzar or elsewhere, this is that there's going to be pulpits, put, in the hereafter for the prophets, and all of them, they are going to occupy their pulpits except the Prophet ﷺ. He is going to be down, going back and forth, try to protect some people who deserve to go to hellfire of going to hellfire, and he is going to have many of those scripts, and records, taken away, by his intercession, and he's going to introduce such people onto the heaven, to the extent the house, the custodian of the hellfire, Sayyidina Malik, an angel, he will tell him, you haven't leave, any punishment, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your community or in your nation, And this is by itself, we should completely be aware about it, He intercedes, in many aspects, as you may are familiar with, about the prayer to cut them down, from 50 to 5. He intercedes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as I mentioned, the story, narrated Sahih Muslim, to make much more time, of recitation of the Quran. He intercedes, in many aspects, of this, and just to clarify this point, all of us, when we die, and we're going to put in our grave, the most important question is going to be, what do we believe, in that particular person, about him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay, and this is really, this is, you know the answer of that question, now. Okay, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support us, to know it, when it's needed, for us, what I'm trying to say, any Muslim, regardless, he cannot live his life. He cannot have the hereafter. He cannot have the intermediate phase, without him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He's not a person, like described by some people, that he just delivered the message and that's it, He got involved, in all aspects, to make our life easy, to make the coming life easy, and to make our hereafter is easier, okay? And this is, you see, this has been initiated, the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. That means those who are believer, and their offspring, they are believer, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make them join their parents, or great parents, without cutting or putting down some of the deeds, good deeds, done by these parents, And this is initiated, the Quran, as I said. Then the Prophet ﷺ broadened it, when he said, Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. You are going to join the one you love, in the hereafter, Those real lovers, I would like to mention some of their story. You have Sayyidina Thawban, you have Sayyidina Abdullah bin Zayd, according to Imam al-Qurtubi, the famous interpreter, you have many people, they have the same experience at the same time, they start to get sick, with yellowish face, and the Prophet ﷺ asks them, what's wrong, what's going on? Are you sick, or whatever, and he said, I love you a lot. And in this life, whenever I feel this is driving me, I'm going to see you, you know. When I think about the hereafter, even if I'm a person, you know, of the heaven, you know, I'm not going to see you because you are a prophet, you are going to be joined to the prophets, you know, and I'm an ordinary man, you know. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed in Surah An-Nisa, وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِم مِّنَ النَّبِيِّينَ وَالصِّدِّيقِينَ وَالشُّهَدَاءِ وَالصَّالِحِينَ وحسن أولئك رفيقا ذلك الفضل من الله وكفى بالله عليما. That's mean whoever obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger is going to be joined to the prophets, to the Siddiqeen, those are from high level, Shuhada, again another level, you know, and Salihin, righteous people, you know, even though they may not deserve to be in that level, you know, and this has been explicitly mentioned by him sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was asked by that person, you know, he was asked sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is an authentic hadith, when is the hereafter, you know, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the answer with another question. He said, what have you prepared to it, you know, and he was shocked, you know. He said, I haven't prepared anything for it, you know. No prayer, no fasting, no significant. But I love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His messenger. Okay. And the Prophet ﷺ did answer him that you are going to join those who you love. Okay. That's why for ourselves, for our children, we should tell them about how to love Allah, how to love His messenger, you know, because I'm sorry to tell you, many of the Muslims nowadays may love this actress, you know, or the other singer, you know, or whatever, you know. There is going to be to join him, you know, for how long? For 50,000 years. This is the length, you know, of the hereafter, you know, till even if he is a person, you know, of the heaven, you know, he is going to join that particular person for 50,000 years, you know, which is not accepted by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did broaden this meaning, you know, much more. What did he say? Listen, this is narrated in Sunan Abi Dawud. Whoever love any action, even though he may be absent of it, is going to be considered as if he is present. And whoever hate this action, even though he may be present there, you know, be considered, you know, as one of those who are absent. They mentioned this story, you know, about that particular king. You have king in the east, you know, I forgot his position, or perhaps it was not mentioned there, you know, in the story, that he has very nice and very strong troop, you know, and they presented in front of him what idea passed in, you know, in his heart. I would like that I was in the Prophet ﷺ time to support him with this army. That night, you know, he dreamed, and he came in the dream. They said, you have been rewarded, you know, to the way you have intended. Okay, and this is for us is very unique and very significant step. Okay, firstly, we should observe our heart. Who do we love? To whom we belong? Okay, and then you should have the great intention, you know, of doing good, you know, all the time. I'm not telling you that you are going to be able, you know, to do it, you know, all the time. This the last point I would like before the questions, you know. I'm going to tell you about my case. Okay, now I'm getting old, you know. I'm getting tired, you know. I cannot practice the same practice. The Prophet ﷺ did say that the believer should be in advance, you know, all the time, improving every day, you know. You cannot have it, you know, physically nowadays, you know, but this answer came to me. You may have it not physically, spiritually, by your heart, when you know about these stories, about the previous people, or you are going to improve yourself every day after day, okay? And that's why there is something, to work, even if you get old, for those communities, when you get old, are going to be considered, not that good, producer, in your life, and many of these people, they are going to be shipped, to the nursing home. I know this story, about a person in the U.S., in New York City, Pakistani person. He was one of the richest people, there, I don't know what type of establishment he did, in New York City. And now he's in the nursing home, Why? Because usually I hear, about him from his son-in-law, who feel really bad, about him, because he's not producer anymore, His son took over, and he shipped him, to the nursing home, Whereas in Islam, this is, I did not do anything for it, Whenever you complete 10 years or 1 decade, you are going to be granted, by some reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of those, or perhaps the first reward, what is it, You will have your heart directed, to the hereafter, when you used to be young, and you establish your life, you have busy time, in this life. You may forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but Allah will not forget you. Then when you finish the productive, years, of yours, in this life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to direct you, to another life, and this is, for me, this is very good preparation, to move, and to improve all the time, okay? What I'm trying to say, even though physically you are going to be limited, you don't have the ability or the capacity, to improve yourself, but in your intention, in your heart, and your inner, you may have the same experience to get more and more, And many of those items, we got it, through the messenger, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that the messenger did say, "Man lam yashkur an-nas, lam yashkurna Allah." Whoever did not thank people, he did not thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's why I would like, from such a gathering, to have full appreciation to him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in their heart. And a person like me, I'm incapable of doing anything. What I can say, I may say, Jazakallah anna khair al-jaza, ya habibi, ya sayyidi, ya Rasulullah. And this, or Jazallah anna Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We should be quite familiar with such a thing, The great companion in his life, they used to be as such, I would like, to kiss the foot, of some of these people. Why? Because they make the Prophet happy. Nowadays, I'm sorry to tell you, many people, many Muslim fellows, they make him sad, or they make him cry. The Prophet. I feel the difference, I feel the difference, Many of us, because of busy life, we want the minimal requirement, So, this is not myself, My daughter was speaking with a woman. She said, okay, why in heaven I should be 10 over 10, Let's be 7 over 10. I told my daughter, if someone, told that woman, your beauty is 7 over 10, she will not be pleased with this, She will not be happy, of it. What I'm trying to say, for the matter of this life, we don't accept, less than 10 over 10, okay? Why for the matter of Allah, the matter of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we accept something, less or diminished, or reduced, You got my point? Here, since we have this great one, namely Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His messenger, we should be quite happy, we should be quite proud of them, and we should try to build our relation to them, okay? And I put it in assumption, it's never happened, If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send us, a person who was bad in characters, bad in shape or whatever, can we have any choice? No, we don't have any choice except to follow that person. So you see how great Allah, how nice, how kind is Allah. He sent us the best one, the best nice looking, the best character, and you name it, This is a favor given to us, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we should love him, I'm going to end, by this. I love this story a lot, I'm going to share it with your people. Sorry, if you felt bored, I'm going to stop here. This is before revelation, to tell you about the characters of the Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What did happen? You have teenager called Zayd ibn Haritha. He used to reside with his family, his family or tribe, they were almost far 1,000 kilometers from Mecca. Okay. His mother, used to be from another tribe. And she went to visit her family, and she took this teenager, Zayd ibn Haritha, with her. According to the Arab habit, at that particular time, Zayd ibn Haritha was captured, and was sold as a slave, in Ukaz. Who did buy him, The one who bought him, was Hakim ibn Hizam, very noble person, from Mecca, rich person. Okay, he bought plenty of slaves, including Zayd ibn Haritha, and he returned back to Mecca. His aunt, Sayyidah Khadija, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, she came to receive him, Out of his generosity, he said, "Oh, aunt, choose one of these slaves, and take him with you back home." And she chose Zayd ibn Haritha. And she took him back to the house of the Prophet ﷺ. And she gave this slave teenager boy to the Prophet ﷺ. This is, for me, it was very happy, story, because Zayd ibn Haritha, as if by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he was taken from the distance of 1,000 kilometers and was residing, in the house of the Prophet ﷺ. On the other side, of the story, the family, they were not happy, Why? Because the parents, they were looking and searching, eagerly, for their son, because they love him a lot, And by chance, as you may know, in these old days, you don't have those sophisticated ways that we have it nowadays, By chance, all of a sudden, one of his tribe, one person, he met with him, while he was making Umrah, in Mecca. And he returned right away to his family, to tell them, that your son in Mecca. And his father, his brother, and his uncle, they came, to offer for the master of Zayd ibn Haritha the amount of money that he wished, to let him, return back, with them, to their tribe. They asked, who is the master, of Zayd ibn Haritha? This is before revelation. They were told, that this person, from a very noble family, his grandfather used to be the head of Mecca, and you name it, and they met with the Prophet ﷺ, start praising him, then they gave him this offer. Ask whatever money you want, we are going to pay this amount of money to make our son, Zayd, return back with us. The Prophet ﷺ, this before revelation, what did he say? He said, I have better offer, What is your offer? He said, I'm going to call Zayd ibn Haritha and give him the choice. If he wants to return back with your people, I'm going to leave him, without any payment, nothing. Don't pay me anything, I'm going to send this teenager, with you. If he chooses to stay with me, I'm not going to get rid of some person, who wants to stay with me. He called Zayd ibn Haritha, asking him, do you know these people? Yes, this is my father, this is my brother, and the other one is my uncle. Okay. Here comes the more critical question. He asked him, do you want to stay with me or want to go with him? He said, no, I want to stay with you. And they were shocked, This teenager, he gave preference, of slavery over freedom. And for them, perhaps I don't agree with this, he gave the preference of the stranger on his family. Okay. And he had this statement, Zayd ibn Haritha. Up till now, if you help me, to understand it, I'm going to appreciate. He said, I have seen from this man something that I am not going to give any preference for anyone over him. Okay, what I'm trying to say, this is before revelation, The Prophet ﷺ was in very great and very unique characters, to the extent that teenager, gave the preference of him over his freedom and his family. I think I'll stop here, if anyone has any question, feel free for the first topic, about the 7 ahruf or 7 qira'at, or for the intercession, anyone has any question, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help me to answer, I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be accurate and straight answer, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help me. No questions? Okay. This is maybe a good sign or bad sign, Either everyone did understand everything or no one did understand anything. Yes, go ahead.
Can you please recite for us the 7 different recitations?
Okay. I thought you want that introduction. Okay, Hadir Sayyidi, okay. Inshallah, we'll do it, If anyone has any question, let's answer it, before it. If no one has any question, we'll start. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I wanted to understand a bit more, probably if you could give us, a few tips on parenting from an Islamic point of view. You spoke yesterday about the way of the Prophet ﷺ, how he always showed the best character, especially with the youth. And, especially as you know, in Australia and Western countries, sometimes we have some issues with the youth in terms of, how we parent them from an Islamic point of view in a Western country.
And if I am fully, understood your question, about Western countries, and the youth. Okay. For the Muslims, you have in Islam more than 100,000 cases, and 100,000 mas'ala, If you are going to discuss all of them, firstly, you may be strong at some of them, you may be weak at some of them, okay? And then it's unfair. Why? Because Islam, I believe, is eligible for all time and places. You have different culture, you have different environment, you have different look, you have different experience. So here, the way I am going to concentrate on, is that Sayyidina Muhammad is truthful prophet or not? Is the Quran the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or not? Is Islam is the religion of Allah or not? Why I should say so, because I had this experience, in early days or in the 80s, I used to be in US, making my residence, and one of our friends was studying, in a college, and he chose some religious matter, and they asked a rabbi to come and to speak about Judaism, to them, Then they asked me to come, and speak about Islam. And the person himself and his teacher, they warned me that you are going to get a lot of those difficult questions, about the woman case or whatever, So I try in my lecture, to broaden the way to prove that the Prophet ﷺ is messenger, to prove that the Holy Quran is the word of Allah. How many questions did I receive at the end? Zero. No one did ask, Yani what I'm trying to say, try to show the people, the width, of your Islam, the width of the personality of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By this, you may take. I'm not telling you that no one is going to have any question or any problem, but you are going to take away significant portion, of these questions, when you have this look, when you have the personal and narrow look, this is going to be. For sure, Islam is not going to please everyone, for his own, nice food, or whatever. Someone who is interested in wine, for sure is not going to like the idea that it is prohibited, in our Islam, and you name it. Okay. Other questions? Go ahead.
In Surah Al-Waqi'ah, there's the three groups of people. There's Ashab al-Yamin, but how does one become the Muqarrabin?
The question, may I repeat the question? We have the three types, in Surah Al-Waqi'ah. In the first half of Surah Al-Waqi'ah, you have the special called Al-Muqarrabin. Then you have Ashab al-Yamin. Then you have Ashab al-Shimal. How the person is going to upgrade himself, from Ashab al-Yamin to Al-Muqarrabin. Okay. This has been answered, by a famous sheikh that you should build your relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His sake, not for some benefit that I may get, If some Muslim fellows, nowadays, if they have very difficult exam or whatever, of that regard, they are going to have nice prayer, they are going to make dua. When they have easy life, they may forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whereas those people, who restricts themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be as such, on all of their days, regardless if it's this difficult day or happy day. And this is taken from the prophetic, life. Why? Because you look at one of the most severe days in him and one of the happiest day, you are going to find out that his relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never changed, Always he has complete reliance on Allah. So here, to make the long story short, you should firstly know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, you should have, I highlight two items, perhaps they are more or less, have complete reliance and complete confidence in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you are going to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala much more. By this, you are going to be considered, inshallah, from Muqarrabin. Okay. Other questions? Yes, go ahead.
The Prophet ﷺ went to heaven. Did he see Allah? Or, some translations say that he was a bowlet, but he was Jibreel.
Yes, here we should highly respect that there's some controversy, about this point, Sayyidina Ibn Abbas, he used to say yes, he used to confirm that he did see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Some others, they did see that he did not see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, don't expect me, as a person, to lift up, this controversy, now, because this controversy happened, among the companion, so we cannot take it away. We should highly respect, the one who speak about it scientifically. Other questions? And this is, by the way, I use it, to prove against, the atheists, I asked the atheists, do you believe in Napoleon and Hitler? You did not see, you did not have any trace, to them. If he said no, it's going to be crazy, If he said yes, I said, I believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because you have much stronger and much truthful person, called Muhammad, and you have another prophet called Musa. Sayyidina Musa did speak with Allah, and Sayyidina Muhammad did see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they came and told me, not directly, by this is the transmission that we have. Okay. Other questions? Okay, we'll go for the question for qira'at. The one who is interested, I think they will enjoy. The one who is not that interested, please cope with us, and tolerate us, for this. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار. وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار. وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تريهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار. وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تريهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فأزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تريهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تريهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. محمد رسول الله والذين معه أشداء على الكفار رحماء بينهم تراهم ركعا سجدا يبتغون فضلا من ربهم ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. صدق الله العظيم. إلى شرف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. الفاتحة.